Greetings, everyone. Yes, if you guys can hear me, greetings, everyone. This is Learnsignal. I'm Arvind Suryadev, and today we'll be going through the pre-scene analysis for the September 2025 SBL paper. So let's get started. Yeah, I'm just waiting for everybody to join on the live, right? And let's get into it. Now, before we get started, actually, with the menu craft or the content for the SBL pre-scene this time, let's talk about SBL a bit. Just a reminder for you guys on what SBL is and what you're going to be expecting in the exam hall. Yeah. So let's start with an overview of everything. Right. Now, basically, right before I get into any of that, here is the contents of all that I'm going to go through. You guys can also see this. This is the content of the pre-scene material itself. We'll be discussing most of it, and we'll be discussing some of the ideas, some tips and stuff. Yeah. So let's get into it. Right. Now, first off, some basic stuff that you guys need to remember. Right, and this would be corporate governance, the key areas for SBL. Yes, don't forget these areas. Please do not walk into the SBL exam without learning these areas, right? This has nothing to do with the pre-scene. It is just stuff that you need to know for your SBL exam. That would be the agency theory to start with. Yeah, so the agency theory is all about, well, directors and shareholders and how, well, the directors run the company, shareholders own the company. So there is always a conflict of interest between the shareholders and the directors. That is the principal and the agents. This was the agency problem, and this is known as the agency theory. This is why corporate governance exists, yeah, to actually take care of it. Now, we also have the stakeholder theory, right? Stakeholder theory is the theory that there are different stakeholders in a business. The stakeholders are all the people invested or interested in your business. Yeah, they don't have to be investors per se. They could be just people who are well into your business or into what you do, or just neighbors of your office or neighbors of your factory, right? So in that sense, a stakeholder theory talks about the fact that different stakeholders want different things, and different stakeholders have different levels of power and interest. Now, these things should sound familiar to you guys because you have the exam coming up in about 10 days, 12 days, I think. Yeah. So best of luck on that. Right. Now, anyway, coming back to this, the stakeholder theory is all about taking care of your stakeholders or making sure that you try to meet at least the requirements or satisfy the main stakeholders. That is the idea here. Now, corporate social responsibility is also a general topic that you guys should definitely know about. This is the fact that the business or an entity, yeah, an organization is also a corporate, it's also a social citizen. Yeah. As far as the society is concerned, it is a citizen of the society. So it has to give back just like how we people give back, right? So the business has a responsibility to give back to the society. That's the idea of corporate social responsibility. Now, these are general topics that you guys need to know. Key areas for SBL, do not miss out on any of them. Yeah. Moving on. Some other details about SBL. Of course, the professional skills that you get, the professional skills that you get marks for. You get 20 marks in the SBL exam. If you guys don't know, you guys should know that too, right? There are 5 professional skills. There is analysis, there is communication, there is commercial acumen, evaluation, and skepticism. Now, individually speaking, or to go through each of them in a quick fashion, analysis would be about analyzing the situation, as is the word, right? So being able to talk about the pros and cons of a situation, sticking to a diplomatic language, and at the same time pointing out the good and the bad of any given situation, then maybe making your recommendation. Don't make it all about your recommendation. Analyze the situation first. Yeah. Communication will be about setting out your report in a very good fashion, especially with report-based answers. Yeah. It will be about structuring the reports. It will be about having a clean fashion. I would say take it, imagine somebody's reading your report, have a sort of a flow through it. That's the idea. Yeah. Then commercial acumen is about, well, being able to apply general ideas or knowing the business. Yes, knowing the business environment, having an idea about how business environments function. This would be commercial acumen. So try to bring in some of that into your answer. Evaluation, a stepbrother of analysis, you could say. It is about evaluating the situation, may involve calculations also. You may have to make a recommendation in this situation, but make sure you evaluate a situation completely. Yeah, pointers for evaluating situations, good, right? So watch out for that, and then only make your recommendation. And of course, skepticism is about judging a situation with all the skepticism you can bring in. Talk about the negatives, talk about, don't just make it about the negatives, but at the same time, scrutinize the situation. That's what the examiners are looking out from you. Yeah. Now, moving on from there, right? The ACCA Code of Ethics, if you guys don't know, you guys should be knowing this too. Ethics is a big part of SBL. for for some of you, at least some of you may know that SBL was once upon a time 2 exam papers. Yeah. And one of the exam papers was ethics, right? It was actually an exam paper on its own, right? I come from that era of ACCA people. Yeah. So that being said, integrity, yeah, is one of the 5 fundamental principles. Along with integrity, of course, there is objectivity, confidentiality, professional behavior, professional competence, and due care. Now, in simple terms, integrity is honesty. Objectivity is not being biased, not being under the influence of something. Yeah. Confidentiality is being able to keep secrets unless it is legally required, yeah, to divulge them, right? Then professional behavior. This would be all about behaving in a manner that does not bring any disgrace to the ACCA fraternity, right? And professional competence and due care, well, that will be about only taking up jobs that you actually have the skills for, right? Do not, I mean, you can upsell yourself, but don't take up stuff that you don't have skills for. The idea is that you have to remain professionally competent, basically have the skills. That's all, right? CPD is a part of this, continuous professional development. Yeah, continuing professional development. And due care, anyway, it's due diligence. Always exercise prudence in what you do, right? Now, that being said, moving on from there, this is the basic SBL exam. You will have a 3-hour, 15-minute exam. So this will be for 195 minutes. Yes. And the first 15 minutes is, of course, reading time, as you guys know. So the total marks that you have, the technical marks would be 80. That is the written stuff. 20 marks would be for your, well, the presentation and the professional stuff that we talked about. Yeah. So the time plan here, the time allocated for 80 marks then would be 2 minutes, yeah, per mark. That is 160 minutes allocated, yeah, just for your, well, the marks, and just for your written marks. And the professional marks, well, they don't really take time as such. It's about structuring your answer. So no time is allocated for these 20 marks. But you got to remember one thing, the 35 minutes that you have extra, for anybody who looked at the total numbers here, 195 minutes is what you have in total. Yeah. 160 minutes is ideally what you would need if you're allocating 2 minutes per mark, right? And yeah, the 35 minutes that you have remaining, right? This is what you should use to structure your answer. Now, how does structure come into your answer? It doesn't come by beautifying your answer sheet or something. It's not about, yeah, breaking it up into paragraphs. Yes, it is a bit about that, but it's not entirely about it. It's more about planning the answer before you put things down. So for that, use the 20 minutes quite well when it comes to reading the questions. You have 6 questions, read them well, right? Highlight the points, yeah, from these from the exhibits, so that you don't have to keep going through the exhibits over and over again. Yeah. Another thing that you can do at the 15 minutes is to, 15 minutes at the end, is to do an overall review and wrap up on any questions that you may have some pointers to add on or something to change, right? Something that you feel could be made a little more presentable. Yeah. So you could consider things like that in the last 15 minutes. If you can follow this, of course, for different people, this would be different. This is the general recommendation, guys. But if you can follow this would be the easy way to write the exam in the exam hall. Yeah. Moving on from there, the time plan, the golden rule that we have, right? 10 technical marks. If a question asks you for 10 marks, write 5 good points, spend 20 minutes writing it. Do not spend more than 20 minutes for a 10 marker. Ideally 18 minutes. Yeah. Because we usually take 180 minutes as a total and 100 marks. But we're keeping it a little flexible because it's SBL and you have 20 professional marks anyway. So 2 minutes per mark, guys, 20 minutes. Do not spend more than that on 10 technical marks. So yeah, watch out for that, right? Now, write 5 good points, because think of 1 good point as a 2 marker. Moving on from there, the introduction to the content of this time's SBL, yeah, pre-scene. Let's talk about this. This is why most of you are here, right? So introduction to Menu Craft, the organization that SBL, that the ACCA examiners have put out. So Menu Craft, a bit about Menu Craft itself. It is a meal kit company. Yeah. So for anybody who went through the pre-scene, they would have seen that it is a meal kit company that is in this country called Ireland. Yeah. So it was established 15 years ago. It has a strong standing in this particular country. It was established by 2 local chefs. Yeah. Now, market position, right? This is the 2nd largest meal kit business in Ireland by customer numbers and revenue. I believe the first one was called Freshly or Frelly or something. It has an international position also. I read this a couple of days back, right? But for the ones who have already read this, you guys would remember who is the leader in the said market. Watch out for things like that. Now, a small disclaimer from my end, guys. Do not try to spot questions. Of course, we will do an analysis of the pre-scene, but that doesn't mean we can predict what the questions would be. This is simply setting the stage for your exam. Yeah. So the questions will come up with more, there will be more detail in your questions that you will have to involve before we can truly understand what areas would be examined. We can try to forecast it, but do not go by any forecast. Always remember, it's good to know everything, but if you can't put your best foot forward, that's what you need to follow, right? Now, coming back to this. So market position, second largest meal kit business in Ireland by customer numbers and revenue. This is given in your pre-scene. There are some graphs also. Now, population of Ireland, just to know about the environment itself, the said country has a population of nearly 40 million people. The strategic position of this company, it focuses on high quality, local, island-based recipes using locally sourced ingredients. So these are key points here, because this is probably what the customers value. So in case a question comes up where a strategy needs to be built, these are some things that probably the company is good at. So maybe focus on those things. Yeah. So the meal kit industry itself, before we talk about the company, that is, the company's name is Menu Craft, if anybody's wondering, right? Before we talk about that, let's talk about the industry itself. The said industry is all about convenient time-saving service. Yeah, it's delivering pre-portioned ingredients and step-by-step recipes. Now, this is actually a common thing in the real world also. You guys may know about meal subscription plans. Yeah, meals that they bring to you on delivery, all of that stuff, right? But here it's a little different in the sense that it is a self-to-cook or ready-to-cook meal kit. So you can prepare your own meal, but the kit involves just ingredients for, say, a portion of two, or a portion for two, or a portion for one. Yeah. So that's what the meal kit industry is all about. So it is convenient, it is time-saving. It's a service delivering pre-portioned ingredients and step-by-step recipes, not the final outcome itself. It's not takeaway from a restaurant. Please remember that. Yeah, that's the difference in the product, right? Then chilled produce. Yeah, there are, yes, in the said meal kit generally in the industry itself, these are the products that come out. There is chilled produce. This is meat, dairy, fish with ice packs. Yeah. There is long life produce within these kits. That would be your rice, pasta, tinned goods. Yeah, things that have a longer shelf life. Then fresh produce will be a part of it. Excuse me, guys. That would be fruits and vegetables. Yeah. And we have recipe cards with instructions. This is the standard meal kit that almost every company or every organization in this industry is selling. Yeah. Now, this is a subscription based, most of them have a subscription based model also, right? I believe, yes, they started out on a normal model and then they got into a subscription based model wherein customers can cancel their order about 48 hours before if they already have a subscription in place. And these subscription driven models are based mostly on technology, in the sense that the customers make their orders through apps and websites. Yeah. So global and local market overview, right? Excuse me, guys. The global market valued at $25 billion. Okay, that's a big market. Projected to reach $75 billion in a decade. There was a graph that showed this, a bar chart, if I remember right. Now, in this bar chart, it's quite evident that in the last 10 years, the industry has almost grown 10 or 12 times. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And I think this is very reminiscent of what is happening in the real world also, with young professionals and fast living families, right? It is easier to buy a meal kit rather than cook a full meal. Yeah. So projected to reach $75 billion in a decade. Freshie, yes, that's the competitor, drove global business. So Freshie is a leader in the global business, is also a local competitor. Excuse me, guys. And this is the pie chart that is given in the pre-seed material. You can see it over here. Yeah. So you guys can see how Freshly has a 35% market share. Right behind it, covered by my video, Menu Craft, 24% market share that Menu Craft has. So Menu Craft is doing quite well compared to the other big competitors, that is iMeals and Food Dropper. Then there are the smaller competitors which have a 11% market share. So yes, the Menu Craft company is doing better than all of them. Not as good as Freshie, but still right behind it. So Freshie drove the global business. Drivers are convenience and cost. Yeah, why do people buy meal kits? If you wonder, right? It would be convenience and cost. Why else, right? So the reduction of food waste is also an added point, because people don't have to buy full-size ingredients packets. This happens to me all the time, or at least used to. Yeah, I used to buy all these ingredients, right? And when you go to a supermarket, you would see that you get, the more you buy, the lesser you buy that. Yeah. So I bought a lot and then it all went to waste because I don't cook so much. So yeah. So that being said, this is the same thing that is happening to the people of Ireland. Yeah. So Ireland has 75% urban population, right? And it is popular among professionals and families. Yeah. So that is why the meal kit business is doing well. And this was quite evident in the bar chart that was given to us. And anyway, this is the market composition. Now, the drivers of growth, let's focus on that a bit more. Maybe it can tell us what could be good strategies in the long run then, based on these. Yeah. So convenience is one thing. This is the reason why people buy it. Do not forget that. Yeah. It eliminates meal planning and grocery shopping. I don't have to worry about, oh, I have to buy this ingredient, I have to buy that ingredient. What will I cook for tomorrow? What do I have in the refrigerator? I don't have to think about all this. I just order their ready to cook meal. Yeah. It has all the ingredients to cook that particular meal and I'm good to go. So eliminates meal planning, grocery shopping. The quality also, customers expect fresh, high quality ingredients sourced locally. And as an additional point, customers also value when it's fresh. Yeah, especially the fresh produce part of these meal kits. This is what I would value if I were a customer, right? So the quality, because why would you pay for this? Yeah. Why would customers pay for meals that can be made on the go, or a meal kit that is ready to be made just for one person or just for two people or for a small family? Well, it could also be because of the quality that they provide at a convenient price and at all the other conveniences mentioned. Yeah. Now, variety is one. Excuse me, guys. Variety. Excuse me. Variety is another factor. There are diverse menu selections which cater to dietary preferences. They were talking about vegans, yeah, and they were talking about vegetarians also. So I hope you guys know what these differentiations are. Vegans, vegans are vegetarians who do not use any kind of animal produce. So meal kit companies are trying to cater to them, yeah, and then vegetarians, yeah, the normal vegetarians who also have milk as a part of their diet or other things which may be considered animal produce, right? They cater to them also. And there is a gluten-free section, yeah. So they have different diverse menu selections for the diverse type of customer, for the discerning customer, right? Then cost effectiveness is another part of it, yeah. Perceived value compared to dining out or traditional grocery shopping. Yeah, the grocery shopping problem is that you tend to buy more than what you need. At least that's a personal lesson that I learned, right? And then you waste up a lot of resources also because you probably don't have the time to cook at home. Yeah. For a full-sized meal which uses different levels of ingredients and all that. And not just that, when it comes to dining out, it's nice to dine out once in a while at a nice place, but if I have to dine out every day, it's probably not as nice. Yeah. So there are some drivers. These are some drivers of the reasons or of the growth behind, yeah, meal kits, right? So that's why the industry has been growing, at least in Ireland. Yeah. Now, there are some challenges that the industry faces, just like any other industry. And what are these? One is intense competition. Excuse me, guys. My throat is not too good today. Anyways, there are competitors like Freshie is obviously a problem. I mean, not a problem for the industry itself. I would say it's more of a problem that Menu Craft MC faces in the industry. So intense competition is one. Direct competitors like Freshie, they have an international presence also. Then there are indirect competitors, that is substitute products. Yeah, if you think of a takeaway could be a reason why nobody wants to buy a meal kit. I mean, why would I want to buy a meal kit and cook it when I can get somebody to just send me food, right? So indirect competitors like stores and restaurants, the customer retention ratio, it could be a problem. Yeah. If you have a high churn rate, that's a good thing. Generally, they do. Yes, people are satisfied by this. Yes, you can see the customer growth, customer acquisition growth, all of that. So that's good. But customers do switch for discounts. So that's not good. That's a challenge. We can't always keep giving discounts. Yeah. Then logistical complexities. Yeah. How do you get it to the customer? So managing hundreds of suppliers. Well, this comes with any logistically, yeah, inclined business, right? So that is a challenge, but that has to be taken care of. Then requirement of high investment also, especially if you're talking about moving food packages, right, which may require storage at a certain temperature, safe storage, right, hygienic storage. So yeah, there could be some complexities in that context. Yeah. Now, moving on from there, food safety and regulations. That too, yeah, governments are generally nowadays very strict about what is being served in their countries, right? So in Ireland also, I would assume that they have some food safety and regulations there. Yeah, this could be a challenge for most players in the industry. Careful handling of perishable goods. Yes, if there is some negative publicity that, well, something happened due to, say, some kind of ingredient in the said meal kit, that's the end of that company. We've seen a lot of companies die like that. We've seen a lot of food brands getting a lot of flack, because yes, well, they didn't handle perishable goods carefully, right? And moving on from there, more checks by the AFSA, that is the Islands Food Safety Authority, right? So yes, there would be some checks by them. That's good actually in a way, but it's bad for the business. Not bad for the business. It's something that we will have to work out. Our strategy anyways to provide a quality service or a quality product to our customer. So I think that it works in line with the challenges. Now, moving on from there, innovations are something that is quite well rewarded in this market, in this industry. So robotics is something that everybody is experimenting with, at least from what I read in the pre-scene. I read that yes, brands are trying to use robotics in production and packaging, right? Not in the delivery part. The delivery part is not end mile delivery. It's more about getting it to people, right? So data analytics to predict demand. Yes, this is something that almost every other brand is doing nowadays. It's about using all the data that they collect to understand, yes, what could sell where. And knowing this can be quite useful. And this is the biggest difference, or this is one of the big factors in doing business today. You guys may have read about this. You guys may have heard about this. Data, right? It is the most important thing you can have nowadays. And it is a new part in SBL. I mean, not recently added, but for a while, they've been talking about data analytics in SBL. So maybe we could expect something on those lines. Again, do not try to spot questions. Just understand the stage, right? So data analytics to predict demand. This is what organizations are using as a part of their innovations exercise. Then new delivery partnerships, for example, through supermarkets, or through other delivery networks, other established delivery networks, right? Collaborations with celebrity chefs. Now, this is something that I've seen in my market here in my in India where I am, right? So collaborations with celebrity chefs. I see these meal kits where chef recommended meal kits are a big deal. Apparently, it's about keeping a recognizable face on the brand. So it's just like a brand ambassador's job. But again, these are the innovations that in the players in this industry are pulling. So this may be relevant to some of the strategies that we talk about later on, or some of the strategies that you guys will have to formulate for your answer in the exam. Now, moving on from there, let's talk about, the meals delivered. So what are the things that we will have to watch out for this brand, right? Or for an organization like Menu Craft? Check this out, number of meals delivered, or how is it going? That will be a good performance indicator. Carbon emissions, keeping a tag on the carbon emissions. Not just about that being a performance indicator, but at the same time, this could be very relevant in a world that appreciates environmental protection. I believe Island is on that side, like how they should be. So then most definitely carbon emissions is something to watch out for. Then these are key performance ratios, guys. I think something went wrong with the labeling there. If you guys can see, right? But don't worry about it. It's key performance ratios. So meals delivered, the carbon emissions that we have, food waste, because the whole point of Menu Craft, or the whole idea that Menu Craft is trying to sell, is that wastage can be decreased. So for environment conscious customers or wastage conscious customers, they can buy meal kits instead of buying full size packets of ingredients and then having to throw them away because they didn't use them before it expired. So decreases food waste. How much of it does it actually decrease? That's a good performance indicator. Revenue, like any other business, no matter what you sell, you got to have some money, you got to make money, right? So revenue is a big indicator of performance. Average order value could be an indicator to understand how well or how much our customers spend with us. And orders per customer can give you a good idea of, how many orders an average customer gives you. So ideally, this could be a key performance indicator. But of course, there are problems with these performance indicators. I can already think of that. Well, before we talk about all that, right, active customers are definitely another key performance indicator. And I'll tell you why. Because earlier they were talking about how easy it is to switch for customers, and how easy it is to switch for customers and how they do this because, customers switch for discounts and such. So active customers, retaining customers may be something important in the said industry. It seems like a very, fast-moving, fast-switching industry. So that's something that, these companies or these the board of directors may be interested in. So I don't know. Let's see. Right now, Menu Craft's board and governance. What is the board like at Menu Craft? The board structure: there is a non-executive chair, as is should be, right? Senior independent non-executive director. Wow, good. Then 4 non-executive directors and 4 executive directors. So it is a balanced board as far as I can see. not an issue, right? There are founders in the board. 2 original founders are still on the board as CEO and Chief Commercial and Marketing Officer, each holding 10% of shares. That is again a good sign because that makes it an owner managed business. So when the owners are there in the business tends to run well. Yeah. So the CEO is still on board. The Chief Commercial and Marketing Officer are also, the original founders are still on board as these 2 roles. So that's a good thing. Then board committees, they do have recommended committees that comes up in the corporate governance code: audit and risk committee, the nominations committee, the remuneration committee. Yeah. That's pretty good. I think that's the basic set of committees that are required, and that's good. As you guys may know, the audit and risk committee watches out for internal control, internal audit, all of that. They do take into account risk. Yeah. Nominations committee nominates the directors. Yeah, that's a very serious committee again. The remuneration committee decides how much directors get paid, which is also a serious thing to do, right? Because you don't want to have directors writing off whatever money they want. Yeah, this has happened in the past. That is why we have proper corporate governance codes like this. And the company here anyway seems to be following all of that. Now, moving on from there, risk report highlights. They do have a risk report in place. And the highlights of this report revolve around competition, legal and regulatory compliance, customer attraction and retention, data and information security. Again, as far as I can tell, that's pretty good. Yeah, on the right lines. Right. Then, moving on, operations and the supply chain. Now, this is where we understand how the mechanics of the company are. What are they doing? What is this organization doing? Yeah. So they have suppliers. They use over 600 suppliers, mostly local. That is one of the what do you call it, customer attracting parts of the business, you could say, customer attracting points. The fact that they do use local ingredients and locally sourced products, or not products, locally sourced vegetables and such. Again, ingredients. Yeah. So uses over 600 suppliers, mostly local. That's good. Focuses on quality, sustainability, and organic farming. Yeah, tick, tick, tick. All good as far as the customer is concerned. This is what they should be focusing on. Then waste reduction. Algorithms predict demand to reduce ingredient waste. So yes, they are using some AI, you could say, AI algorithms which help predict the demand to reduce ingredient waste. Like how can we, or how much demand is there for a product like this that helps actually decrease the wastage in the market. So edible surplus donated to charity, that's a good thing to do. Non-edible waste used for animal feed. Now, that, yes, is also a good thing. But again, you may want to look at further pointers on that if questions come from that area, right? Now, production. As far as the production goes, there is one large factory with 4 production lines operating 16 hours per day. So I'm guessing employees are on 2 shifts. Then uses robotics for box formation and labeling. So lesser employees, more on the robotics end. Not bad. Then packaging. Supplied by a single local supplier, uses 100% recyclable cardboard box for both chill and outer boxes. So the chill boxes that have the meat and all that, with the ice packs in them. They also have some kind of a recyclable cardboard box, and the outer boxes are also recyclable cardboard boxes, which is a good thing. The ice packs are reusable. Yeah. Now the distribution part of it is handled by a third-party logistics supplier, GoFlow. Right. Vehicles have refrigeration technology, and routes are optimized to minimize carbon emissions. Not bad. Yeah. Maybe some improvement there. Maybe some synergy there if they do some kind of a vertical takeover. Yeah. Right. Vertical. Integration, right? Something like that maybe could help. We never know what kind of question can come up, but I hope you guys got an idea of the operations and supply chain of Menu Craft. Yeah. Now, moving on from there, guys, the mission, vision, and values of the company. Now, remember, whenever you write an SBL exam, the main things that you guys should be thinking about is what is the mission of the company. From the mission of the company, you will be able to decipher what is the strategy that needs to be followed. How? Well, from the mission, we would know what are the objectives. Now, once you know the objectives, you can get an idea of how to achieve those objectives. And these are the strategies. Once you have strategies in place, you can understand what are the critical success factors that drive success in this business. Yeah. Once you know that, it will be easy to measure using KPIs. This is the relationship between all these things. Yeah. So what is the mission, vision, and values as far as this particular company is concerned? So the mission is to make healthy home cooking simple, affordable, and accessible to everyone. Yeah. The vision is to promote healthy, sustainable food choices so that customers and communities can live healthier lives. Yes, usually the mission statement, vision statement, these are very vague statements from which we can understand some pointers or some objectives that this brand wants to live up to? Yeah, what is the mission of the organization? That's the idea, right? So here I can see, yes, the values of this, yeah, on the on the flower style diagram over here, you guys can see it is promoting healthy and convenient food. This is something that they want to do. Then supporting local producers, yeah, demonstrating responsible leadership, upholding the highest ethical standards, promoting sustainability for stakeholders, making positive environmental decisions. Again, trying to win the hearts of customers by talking about how much we reduce waste and how we are ethical, yeah, as a company, right? All of those things. These are the values that the company has. Now, are these values being achieved? That is a separate thing. This is what you'll be formulating strategies based on. Yeah. Now, moving on from there, a financial performance analysis for the years 2020 to 2024, yeah, or 20x0 to 20x4. The revenue is given, as you guys can see, revenue has been steadily growing. That's a good looking bar chart right there. But the revenue growth, yes, this is, yeah, revenue dollar wise, it's not bad, but growth wise, it's not good. As you guys can see, initially there was a 45% growth, so that was a good jump, yeah. But this growth rate has been coming down to 32%, 31%, 20%, and finally 18%. So revenue growth is not so good. Now, we may not be acquiring more customers. Yeah, that could be a problem, right? This could be something, yeah, something to watch out for. There may be more details regarding that. Or maybe the industry has grown to a level where it's already facing a sort of maturity stage. We never know. We need more details to understand those things. Then moving on from there, so revenue looks up, yeah. The revenue per meal has also been increasing. Now, this could be inflation driven, as is almost with everything, right? Or it could be that, yes, people are actually expending more per meal. The revenue per meal growth, yeah, from 2020 to 2024, again, there is a slight hike in that. Last year was good. This year, the latest year in this record, yeah, is 3.2%. Not too bad. 3.4% was great. The years before that, it was roughly around 2%. So there is some increase in the revenue per meal. So that is something good to look out for. Yeah. Now, why is this happening? There may be reasons behind it. Yeah. Those are for you guys to find out. Right. Then the average order value has also increased, which means the average order that one person's making or the customer's making has increased on average. This could be because they're ordering more. That could mean satisfaction. It could also mean that more people are ordering together, smaller families, all of that. Yeah. So the average order value growth here, again, the same kind of growth percentages. You guys can see 2.1 to 2%, 2.3, and then it hikes up to 3.4, drops to 3.2. Not too bad overall. Yeah, better than the overall average, I would say. The operational performance analysis is also given. The total meals delivered. Now, this is not in dollars. This is in the number of meals. In 20x4, this seems to be the highest at about 35 million. That's a good number. Yeah. Would be nice to compare this with the industry averages also. Then total meals delivered growth, though, has not been looking so great. We did see initial years of great growth, but now this seems to be stabilizing. Now, it could be because the industry is also stabilizing. It could be because of other reasons too. Yeah. Now, moving on from there, the operational performance analysis of active customers. How many active customers are there? Customers are increasing. As you guys can see, it started a little north of 250,000. Yeah. Right now, it's right under or right about 500,000 customers. So that's good as far as the last 4-5 years are concerned. But the growth rate, again, has gone down because what we saw in 2020 was a 37% jump from the year before that. After that to 2021, it's only a 24% jump, again a 24% jump, and then a 14% jump. So that's not a big jump. Yeah. And then right now, a 13% jump in the latest numbers. So what could be next year? Yeah. Could it be lower than this? Could it be higher than this? Could we achieve more growth? It is all things to consider. Yeah. Then moving on from there, annual orders placed per customer. This is where we have, yes, the numbers of orders placed by customers. This is more like an annual number of orders placed by the customer. So I can see 10.8 was the number in 2020. In 2024, it has reached about 12. Yeah. So that is good. The average customer is ordering more meals. Yeah. The annual order placed per customer growth is also given here. The growth was the highest in between 2020 and 2021. You can see the 4.6% jump. After that, yes, there are jumps. It's not like we are seeing a decrease in the growth. Yeah, it's rather, there is a decrease in the growth rate. We're not seeing a reduction. Yeah, but there are, yes, the growth rate is not very satisfactory. It's at 1.7%. Again, it may be useful to compare this to what the industry averages are like, how Freshie is doing. Yeah, I keep forgetting that company's name, Freshie, Frelly, yeah, whatever that company is, the main competitor, the number one there in that island market. Yeah, how they are doing would be a good comparison to understand what these numbers mean. Right. Now, moving on from there, here's the summary and conclusion, guys. Yeah, strong position that MC has. MC does have a strong position in a growing market. They are not active in the global market. They only sell in Ireland. Yeah, but they have the second best market share. The first best market share is by Freshie. Right. Now, moving on from there, growth. Key performance indicators do show strong growth. Yeah. In revenue, customers, and meals delivered, yes, there is growth happening, right? Some of those numbers were not the best, but generally it was still growing quite strong. Now, differentiation, focus on high quality local ingredients and sustainability. This is the key differentiating factor for MC, and that seems to be a good thing. Yeah. The ESG focus here is very good. ESG is environmental, social, and governance factors. So focusing on things like sustainability is always a great thing, and focusing on delivering a high quality product, especially something that is related to food, is always a way to differentiate yourself from the rest of the competitors. And this seems to be something that the customers also value. Right. Now, the challenges faced here, the faces significant challenges from intense competition. High customer churn. Yes, customers do move away very fast, right? Customers come in very fast, but also move away very fast thanks to things like the discount. So high churn rate is not a very good thing. The logistical complexities, of meal kits, generally the distribution networks that would be required, all of this may become a bit of a challenge. Now, moving on from there, the future focus also needs to continue to innovate and manage risk to maintain its market position and growth trajectory. Yeah. So yes, they have to keep innovating. Some of them are using robotics, some of them are using apps to have subscription models that are more convenient to access, and more real time, right? So things like that may need to be ironed out for the future, because it is a competitive market. To maintain the growth trajectory, that is upwards growth, they will have to do all this. Moving on from there, guys, we have prepared a kit that you guys can use, and we have applied about 50 plus models and theories to the pre-seen company that is Menu Craft. So if you're sitting for the exam this time, this can be quite useful. Just send us a mail at info@learnsignal.com, and we'll send you a copy of this kit, right? So please feel free to use it, right? And now is the Q&A session time. If you guys have any questions, right, please feel free. And yes, I can see a comment, drink water. Thank you. I should have. I had some water next to me, but I didn't want to, right? Sorry about my throat. I've been in and out of classes the whole day. Right. Is the kit free? Yes, Mukesh. Yes, the kit is free. You can send us a mail, and you will get the kit, right? Yes, guys, all questions are welcome. Please feel free, right? The whole point of going live is so that you guys can ask me live questions. What's the email again? So sorry. Yes, info@learnsignal.com. And let me turn the lights on in here. I hope you guys can see me better now. Yes, guys, any questions or anything here? Please, the email. Yes, Precious, please check out the email. It's info@learnsignal.com. Now, what should be the approach? Okay, nice question, Mukesh. What should be the approach for the last 9 days? Practice past papers or revise the pre-seen? Any tips and any advice? Well, depends on where you stand right now with the knowledge. So if you already have gone through the SBL portions at least once, or you have a general idea of what is what and at least some idea of the main models, I would say jump into past practice papers. Practice as many questions as possible, right? Revising the pre-seen is not something I personally recommend. The pre-seen is all about setting the stage. It's not about memorizing it, or it's not about trying to apply questions to it. Yes, you can try to apply models to it. That helps you prepare a bit. The idea of preparing or idea of applying these models is not to predict questions, guys. It's just to see what models may be applicable in the situation, so that you can learn the models along with it. So it is not to revise the pre-seen or memorize the pre-seen, nothing like that. The pre-seen is all about, the stage for the exam. So there will be more detail that will be given to you in the exam from which questions would be asked. So the pre-seen kind of sets stage for that. practicing past question papers will still be of the most importance, or will be the best step for you guys to go. Have a read of the pre-scene, have a read of the kit also, just to have an idea of what models can be applied there and what theories can be applied there. But again, that's just speculation. Yeah. Now, and a lot of people advise that it's not mandatory to use models. What's your take on that? Just common sense? Well, I would say personally, I come from a situation where I would recommend using as many models as possible. I'm not saying crowd your answer sheet with models, no. But for a specific answer, especially these evaluate, analyze answers, right? Try to involve a model or two. Yeah. Involving models always gets you more marks. That is just a proven factor, right? And the examiner may never be direct about it, but that's where you have to think, hey, what models would fit in here? And then that's when you're thinking like a strategic business professional. So that's exactly what the examiners would give you extra marks for. Now, generally, yes, you can win your SBL exam if you have some knowledge about the systems and what is what, corporate governance, and those key areas that we talked about. But I wouldn't recommend that. Yeah. A lot of people giving advice that it is not mandatory to use models. Well, it is not mandatory. There is no law that says that. Yeah. But I would recommend using models wherever you can and wherever you have a clear idea of what or how a model applies. Keep that in mind. Yeah. Then, Mukesh, I fear mixing up things because past papers have pre-scenes. Okay. Would you recommend to read pre-scenes of past papers or just dive into the paper? Well, if the past papers that you're practicing have pre-seen material, I would say give it a quick read. Not too much information would be very, required when you're answering the question. It'll be just some parts of that part pre-seen material that would be relevant. Yeah. So if you're practicing such questions, I would say try to wing it first, right? And see where you stand as compared to the model answer. Now, some of these points would be missed by you because you didn't go through the pre-seen. So, yeah. Then from there, you can figure out how much of the pre-seen influence was there in the said answers, right? So this would be very specific to each question paper. Not all of them have a lot from the pre-seen, right? And again, the pre-seen is not study material. It's more of a setting the stage for the exam sort of thing. Yeah. So I would say see it like that, and see it as a part of the question paper itself. That's the idea, right? So when you dive into the paper, well, a quick glance through it is something I would recommend. Try to compare yourself to the model answer also. Again, the model answer would always be too good. Yeah. But, right. Yeah, I can see another doubt here. Many past papers don't have marking schemes and say other answers would be given credit. Yes, absolutely. Most of my answer isn't similar to model answer. So what to compare the answer to? Well, in situations like that, of course, SBL is such a paper where things may not seem very direct. Yeah. So because of that reason, right, there are different perspectives that would work in an answer. Now, I can't say your perspective is wrong till I've read your perspective, right? But try to stick to a general perspective. That would be my recommendation. And whenever you're writing SBL, yeah, try to stick to a diplomatic language also. Try to look at all perspectives if possible. Yeah. This is why I said you can apply different models, right? So that, yes, and the lack of marking schemes in past papers, yes, I understand that can be a little hard to follow. Yeah. For that, well, try to figure out the marking schemes or try to think of, what an examiner would give you marks for. Ideally, if you have the model answer around you, you will be able to tell that, okay, there are about 5-6 points. So it would be for a 10 marker, it's usually 5 points. Yeah. Model answers tend to have 5 to 8 points or even 10 points, just so that students can look at all the points. Yeah. That would get them marks. And also remember, the model answer is the most ideal answer. Yeah. This is not expected by the examiner, but the more ideal you make it, the more the professional marks you get, of course, and the more the technical marks you get. No question about it. Yeah. Now, how many marks do you recommend? Well, Mukesh, I would recommend 2 marks at least. Yeah. One to get you into that whole exam mode and one more to write properly, right? And then after that, it's up to you. If you have the time, write a third mark. No, yeah, no loss in writing it, right? But for the exam as such, I think just 2 is the bare minimum, and that's good enough. Yeah. For anybody who does not have any amount of time, write at least 1. If you don't have time at all to write a mock, go through a few of them. Yeah. Try to understand what you'll be facing in the exam, right? You don't want the first day of the, you don't want the day of the exam to be the first day you feel the heat. That's the point. Yeah. So, yes, I hope I could answer your questions, Mukesh. And most welcome. Yes, yes. I hope it was very helpful. Yes. Any other questions, guys? Yes, it's it's still open for Q&A. You can ask me all your questions. People preparing for SBL, I hope your preps are done. Please do remember the main topics, the key areas that you definitely need to know. SBL is an important paper, but at the same time, remember SBL is not that hard a paper. Yeah, if you have some idea of what is what, right, you can still write a good amount of SBL answers, right? So try to stay alert, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, right? When you're learning, try to learn it in a fun way, yeah, because if you look at SBL and the content of SBL, it's more of the strategic end of running a business. Personally, I love it because it talks about, what people are doing wrong and what brands get wrong and things like that. Yeah, the stuff that I watch on YouTube, I guess. Yeah, 10 brands that failed, right? So stuff like that. This is what SBL is all about. So try to learn it with that affinity towards it. It will make it easier, because otherwise, yes, SBL has a lot to go through. It is a lot to read. If you guys have seen the textbooks, the SBL textbooks are fatter than all the other. Yeah, they're all fatter than all the other textbooks. So there is that part of it. But hey, read it with an affinity for it. Yeah, it's actually all interesting topics. Corporate governance, yes, may not be the best. Ethics also. But remember these things, they are very integral to your learning, very important. They are key areas. Yeah. Any questions, please? Excuse my computer, guys. Yeah. Yes, if you guys don't have any further questions, yeah, I think we can wrap up. Yeah, that is all of my pointers and the analysis. Yeah, our analysis of the SBL exam pre-seed material for September 2025. My name is Arvind Suryadev. Yeah, I was the speaker for this. Right now, finally, guys, best of luck for your exam. Yeah, I hope this was helpful. Yeah, use your time the best for your preps. Right. So I hope this was useful for that time. Yeah, I can understand it's only 10 days to the exam, so every minute right now is quite valuable. Yeah, so keep practicing, keep reading. Yeah, and do go through the pre-scene kit and see what you guys can find. Yeah, and how it can help you. So thank you, and yeah, best of luck.